this is hopefully a shorter one, but I wanted to get it out of my system. Um, I hate how the approach of you say, "Oh, I don't want this heinous thing to happen to me." His response is, "Well, then stop doing this essential thing if you don't want it to be done to you." And like, I'm thinking specifically of the idea of if you go on the internet, you gotta give up on any presumption of privacy. And when you're saying something like, hey, I don't think it's right for companies to just take data that from you just talking to people IRL, not even like online, and doing XYZ thing without your consent, right? And there's always this like smug asshole who's like, well, if you don't like data brokers using your data for unethical things, just stop using social media. And it's like that's such a that is such a mindless gotcha argument because they know that that's just like engaging in bad faith. It is bad faith engagement because they know that in 2026, ditching social media completely and just ditching the internet, not just like that, just going off the grid completely, like using a computer like it's, I don't know, fucking 1999. No Steam, no nothing. You still buy CDs. You ask your friend to put games on a flash drive. I don't fucking know. Or you at most like go to like a library computer or have GOG installed, or I don't know. Details, you know. Um yeah, like if is it possible to go off the grid and be completely offline? Yeah. But is it recommended? Definitely not. Because again, going off the grid is pretty much social suicide in our current day and age, especially if you don't like have a well-established IRL friend group. And even then, I'm thinking of it this way, right? You have an IRL friend that you go out and get a beer every Friday night or so, just as the weekend comes. They're just your friends that you go to the pub with, and you just like have a beer, watch a movie with, maybe, watch the football. I don't know, The thing is, yes, you're still gonna be friends with them. Nothing is gonna change. However, they have a group chat where they talk every day besides the meetup days that are well established, right? And you're not part of that group. Even if you don't want to, they will eventually get closer to each other, and you're not going to get closer to them because you don't talk to them enough. You're going to be that one friend from every group that, you know, everyone likes, right? But they only say anything like twice a year. They show, or like they like very rarely talk and are part of the group. So while you still like them, you're just there's like some slight of like side are like awkwardness around because you have to explain your in jokes. You have to like give them all this context every time, and it's like a little bit awkward. You know, not enough to push them away, but there's always this like little gap between everyone else and them that could be felt, even if you don't mean it. Um, and yeah, sure, not using social media and being completely offline worked in 2008, barely. Uh, Maybe it might have worked in 2012, even less so. But I think at any point after 2012, it would have started being social suicide, right? Like, by 2015 or so, it was already a huge red flag not to have some social media or something. Now imagine over a decade later, I'm just saying. Um, or oh, you don't want companies to track what you say, even when you're talking. Just stop using a smart TV. Stop using a smartphone. Like, okay, not using a smartphone again. I feel like it's a lesser type thing, compared to being completely offline, right? Like, you can still get away with using like a dumb phone, or using a phone just for calls and completely offline, completely nothing. Um, and just like going online on a laptop or a tablet or whatever. However, that kind of, maybe it should be a matter of companies shouldn't do sketchy things with my info without my consent. And on the topic of, oh, well, just stop using a smart TV. Okay, good luck trying to find a modern day TV that isn't smart. You will not find anything. I genuinely believe they probably haven't made non smart TVs in like at least 10 years. And you'll say, "Oh, but just buy older TVs," and yeah, that is totally fine. I would even say for the average person, it is okay. But you want 4K, you want HDR, you want all the fancy schmancy amenities. Oh, fuck you. No, you won't. And you'll say, well, again, most people don't care about 4K HDR, and again, there's a lot of TVs that are not smart that they do good 1080p, and 1080p is still very much fine in 2026, regardless of what some people will try to tell you. Okay, but the problem is, the difference between, the TV. Let's say you buy one from 2008. Television has changed since 2008. Try watching TV nowadays. It's very clearly built around you just having it in the background and maybe passively watching it every now and then, because in order to keep people around, they just aired the same like four shows on and on. Everyone wonders, oh, why did Cartoon Network air Teen Titans Go all the time? Why does MTV air ridiculousness all the time and maybe Catfish every now and then? It's because that's their only way to gauge viewership. Because I don't know, you clean around. Like, let's say you don't really use TV much, but you're cleaning around and you're like at your parents or something. You just put something in the background because you just want to have something in the background. They don't have Netflix or whatever. Um, you're just gonna put something you know of. And ridiculousness is like something that, if you look at, you can still have a decent time. Just clips from the internet, you're gonna have it in the background. You're not gonna care about it. It's good for that. It's not plot, narrative, whatever driven that heavily. And if you look at the TV, you're still going to see something fascinating enough to keep you wanting to watch. The point is, TV isn't what it used to be, and that's kind of the problem. I do have some solutions to that. Like, okay, yeah, you could buy Blu-rays and DVDs. However, you would have to manually change them. The only way you could maybe circumvent that is by building a decently large library, right? And using a computer to create some pseudo TV experience, which is possible. It has been done before, right? However, don't you think it's a little unfair to tell someone, oh yeah, if you want the basic of safety, the basic of having a okay experience online or in your world and have some privacy, you have to overcomplicate your life, because it isn't just like um experiencing the world the way you did 15 years ago, because you have to go through all these hoops which have made that more difficult. This is why it's difficult even for people who are buying physically or digitally, like music or movies, even to ditch streaming. I don't stream because I never really did, besides using my sister's Netflix at one point. But otherwise, no, I haven't been paying for Netflix, and I think that's why it's easier for me, right? But I still pay for Spotify. I don't like Spotify. I hate Spotify. However, um, while I am still slowly gaining an offline library, I still want to access modern music that just came out, and I don't have the money to constantly buy it and this and this and that. Um, I'm also paying for a plan that is cheaper because it's from my home country, so I'm paying like less than half of the usual amount. But if they were to put the same price as the regular plan everywhere else, I feel like I would probably try to save as much as I can and move it over to a self-hosted alternative. The point is, right? I, don't you all think it's don't you think it's unfair that the only other option if you don't want to rely on Spotify and their shitty sketchy practices is that you have to um basically set up a computer and have and set up Jellyfin, which again isn't insanely difficult, but it isn't as convenient as just opening an app, logging in, tap tap tap, and you have everything everywhere all at once. Like there is some degree of friction, and friction isn't bad. I like some friction. I do quite like friction, but it is as I said in the previous video, it's kind of an issue of a good service. A good idea comes out. It starts out as a really good service, like again, Netflix being like a few bucks and you get every single movie that you can think of. Perfect deal. Like genuinely, why would you even buy Blu-rays anymore? Or I don't know, Spotify giving you every song ever for like $5 a month. Like that's a no-brainer. Also, that's roughly how much I pay. Just letting you know. I know in many countries has gone up significantly, but yeah. Anyway, um, the point is, at first it starts out as a good idea, but then once people become reliant and it becomes impossible to want to go back or be able to go back to the old ways, you're you pretty much have to choose between accepting all the sketchy shit and being kind of left behind in a way. I do want to eventually drop Spotify, and for me, it's either when I will feel completely secure about having pretty much everything I want and maybe being financially at a point where I could just buy every new album that comes out that I'm interested in. But that's going to take a bit. Or if Spotify is going to, become like $15 worldwide, I don't think I can really justify it that much when, again, I can buy an album every month. I can buy 15 tracks and I can figure things out myself. The point is, I think people who are like, just stop using thing. Five head. If you want your privacy, they're not always engaging in good faith. Like yes, it, of course, no shit. Going off the grid and being offline is going to keep you safe, but it's kind of it's pretty much like saying, yeah, well, you don't want your computer to get hacked, you don't want viruses, then just stop using a computer. Like, yeah, no shit. That's the best computer security is not having a computer, but like, what if you want to have a computer? Anyway, the point is, maybe it's good. We need to expect and should expect better from big companies that kind of control the world at this point. Like they might as well just do something right for us. It is really unfortunate that that's that those people who are like, stop, just stop streaming this and stop doing this and stop doing that. Like, they are right, but they also don't want to acknowledge how it's not as easy. And sometimes I may fall into the same pitfalls myself. Like, I say, well, you don't like streaming, just don't stream and just go the old ways. But like, I also understand how difficult it is to just like go back the old ways when the world is now reliant on the new ways. Like, yeah, iTunes is still fine, and CDs are also still fine. However, you get more music coming out now than ever before, and the entire environment, the entire world is kind of reliant on streaming services. Just because you don't want to do that, which, again, really good, cool thing, I can applaud you for that, it doesn't change the reality of the matter. Same way, not having a streaming service, right? It does kind of exclude you from having access to a lot of shows that you would have probably otherwise watched. Sure, you can find other ways, such as buying a Blu-ray, selling the 7 seasons, and so on, but it does remove a layer of, oh yeah, I'll just put this on from you and that thing. Regardless, I guess I just like also wanted to say that like I am not against streaming as a concept, obviously, because I have made videos talking about it. Obviously, I'm not, but I also believe that we all deserve better than companies just treating us like exploitable cattle. You know. Oh well. Um, I'll end it right here before it gets too long. So, see ya.